Today we're getting into the latest Tesla news, including a new Tesla steering wheel, Tesla passing BMW in the US, and massive Tesla price drops across their entire lineup in all markets. So let's get into it. First up today, since the refresh of the Model S and X announced back in January of 2021, Tesla has only offered those cars with a yoke steering wheel option. This wheel drew a lot of criticism, but overall has worked out fine for owners. At the same time though, people have wanted the option to purchase a round steering wheel when buying these cars, particularly on the Model X, but Elon Musk was clear that Tesla wouldn't make this. In July of 2021, he responded no in response to whether Tesla would make an optional round wheel. In September of 2021, he said, "Yet another round wheel is boring and blocks the screen. FSD in panoramic mode looks way better with a yoke." It took a long time for Tesla to scale up those vehicles, and renders of a round wheel on those cars leaked a while ago, but Tesla never released it until now. I figured this change would happen eventually, and Tesla has made this change in two ways. First, when you configure a Model S or X on Tesla's website, you can now configure a steering control option. Surprisingly, the default is now a round wheel, still with touch-sensitive buttons, but a normal wheel shape. Then you can change to a yoke if you choose, and either option is included. I personally recommend the yoke and would say to give it a try before deciding not to buy it, but I'm also glad to see Tesla finally making this an option. In classic Tesla fashion though, this change was made suddenly and has made some customers frustrated that their car had no option for a round wheel. To handle this, Tesla is offering a retrofit allowing you to change from a yoke to a round wheel if you so choose, but it costs $700. Tesla offers it on their online shop saying, quote, "Travel in luxury. Enjoy the warmth of a heated wheel and the touch of premium vegan leather in a traditional form factor. No stocks or shifters. It will become available in March, and the purchase price includes Tesla service installation." Next up today, Tesla has officially become the top luxury auto brand in the United States. Based on registration data collected and posted by Automotive News, Tesla has entered the #1 spot. This is the first time in 25 years that a US automaker has been in this position. They are in first with 491,000 registrations in the US for 2022, passing BMW at 332,388 and Mercedes at 286,764. Lexus, Audi, Cadillac, Acura, and Volvo follow after. In 2021, BMW was in the top spot, beating Tesla by around 23,000 units, so Tesla's significant factory ramping this year has definitely helped them comfortably enter this top spot, leading by over 100,000 vehicles. Their lead here is only expected to grow in 2023, but recent price drops have both concerned people as to Tesla's demand and encouraged people that Tesla is able to lower prices once again. At the end of last quarter, Tesla was offering discounts of $3,750 and up to $7,500 by the end of the year. This was largely seen as Tesla trying to clear inventory while customers were delaying orders to see what the impending tax credit would offer. The details for that tax credit came out, disqualifying the Model Y since it was over the $55,000 price cap it was assigned, but then we started seeing Tesla lower prices. In China, Tesla suddenly slashed their prices at the beginning of January, lowering prices up to the equivalent of $7,000. This brought their cheapest vehicle in China, the Model 3 rear-wheel drive, down 13.54% to 229,900 RMB or $33,417 US. The Model Y long range also dropped down 13.41% to the equivalent of $45,118 in China. This was exciting to hear from the perspective of affordable electric vehicles, but sparked protests for the customers who had just purchased cars at the higher prices. Shortly after, we saw Tesla continue to slash prices in markets like South Korea, Japan, Singapore, and Australia, but this week they officially dropped prices for the first time in a long time in the United States. It's the biggest price drop we've seen and far larger than anyone expected. The Model 3 rear-wheel drive dropped $3,000, the Model 3 long range dropped $8,000, and Model 3 Performance dropped $9,000. Those are significant price drops and far more than I expected to happen at once, but the bigger drop is for the Model Y. Tesla lowered the price of the Model Y from $65,990 all the way down to $52,990. That is a $13,000 price drop overnight, lowering its full price by 20%. The Model Y Performance dropped the same amount, bringing that car down to $56,990. What this means is that a base Model Y, even price capped at $55,000 for a tax credit, is now eligible. For certain customers, the Model Y has now become a whole $20,000 cheaper. It used to be $65,990 and not get a tax credit, but now it's $52,990 and eligible for a $7,500 credit, credit, bringing the price down to $45,490 for some people. When including that credit, that's the cheapest price the Model Y has ever been available for, and it's a significant change from the very high price this car has been at. Tesla also dropped Model S and X prices at the same time, dropping the Model S Plaid to the lowest price I believe we've seen. The Model S dropped $10,000, now starting at $94,990, a 10% drop. The Model S Plaid dropped a whole $21,000, now starting at $114,990, a 15% drop. The Model X dropped $11,000, now starting at $109,990, a 9% drop. And lastly, the Model X Plaid dropped $19,000, now starting at $119,990, a 14% drop. There's a lot to talk about here, but the first concern people have is that Tesla has demand issues and desperately needs to drop their prices in order to sell vehicles. What's very likely, though, is a mix of a few things. Tesla has been able to bring down production cost and is passing those savings down to the purchase price. At the same time, a lower purchase price will surely lead to more sales of the Model Y and 3 that have been priced very high for some time. I think that Tesla does have a, quote, demand issue that they're addressing with this price drop, but it has all been part of their plan. They knew they couldn't keep selling a growing number of available Model Ys each quarter at $66,000. Keep selling their cars at premiums people are paying and lower them once it becomes necessary to do so. A recent development as well was that most trims were not going to qualify for the tax credit either. Now that should be another incentive for people to purchase. This massive price drop is fantastic news for future Tesla buyers and for EVs in general. It shows that these vehicles are able to be priced lower, and it should lead to many more customers being able to buy Teslas at the same time Tesla is ramping up production at multiple new factories. Long term, this is a great thing. Cheaper EVs are what we want and the ultimate goal. It's far easier to recommend a Model Y at $53,000 as compared to $66,000, and many more people will be able to justify this purchase. What I don't understand, though, is why Tesla did this overnight. It's a surefire way to make brand new and fairly recent Tesla customers angry. They did this first in China and now have followed suit in the US, Europe, and Canada. They slashed prices up to 21% with certain models in Canada and did similar in Europe. Overall, it's clear that they can and need to price their vehicles lower in order for demand to stay in line with their increasing production capacity. Again, though, I don't really see why they couldn't have eased prices down in the way that they eased them up in the past couple years. They want these cars to qualify for the tax incentive, but people were buying their cars regardless of tax incentives in the past. It seems they really suddenly can lower prices, but also need to. As a result, I don't think the timing here was handled well at all. It's how Tesla operates, where anything can change at any moment. Ultimately, it's great that their cars are far more affordable, but I know plenty of people who bought a Tesla very recently and now see the same vehicle selling for a significant discount from what they paid. Even those who bought when Tesla was offering a large credit at the end of 2022 are finding that waiting 2 weeks would have saved them around $5,000. Tesla offered a great credit of $7,500 off to clear Q4 inventory, waited less than 2 weeks, and dropped the price far more than that credit did. Others may find that their purchase could have been up to $20,000 cheaper if they had waited a single month. It would be one thing if Tesla did this over the course of many months and customers could look back 6 months later and see a $13,000 or $20,000 price drop. Frustrating, but a long enough period of time to understand how things change. It's another thing to experience that drop just a couple weeks after dropping $66,000 on a Model Y purchase. Not only could it feel like a slap in the face, but it will immediately devalue your car that you just bought. I'm sure that there's a way that they could have eased pricing down over time, kept customers happy, and actually made more profit in the process. Dropping this much all at once is very odd to me, as good as it is for the bigger picture. Speaking to why Tesla dropped prices, though, a Tesla spokesperson in Germany said, quote, "At the end of a turbulent year with interruptions to the supply chain, we have achieved a partial normalization of cost inflation, which gives us the confidence to pass this relief on to our customers." As frustrating as this is for recent buyers, the impact that this will have for Tesla is going to be huge. Many more customers will be able to buy an EV, and Tesla is finally able to truly undercut the competition. They continue to have competition beat on range, supercharging, and certain features in their vehicles, but those advantages used to come at a significant premium. Now they come at a cost lower than or on par with many competing vehicles. There will always be customers who want to buy an EV that isn't a Tesla, but for those deciding between a Tesla or another EV, it will be much more difficult to not get a Tesla. A Tesla Model Y now is significantly cheaper than a range equivalent Mustang Mach-E or Cadillac Lyriq and qualifies for $7,500 off that those vehicles don't. The Model Y is also priced right in line with vehicles like the EV6 or Ioniq 5, and on the back end, we know that Tesla's profit margins are higher, helping them significantly long term. Their production capacity is continuing to grow, and they now offer some of the best EV options at some of the best price points available from any company. There's there's definitely valid frustration with this sudden price drop, but it will be huge for Tesla's growth in 2023. This is all happening right as Tesla is preparing to introduce the standard range 4680 Model Y in the US. They are making them again and selling them through inventory currently, and all signs point to them getting ready to add this configuration to the online configurator. They appear priced the same as a long-range Model Y at the moment, but these are coming out of Giga Texas and will likely come in even cheaper in the future. This could potentially bring a Model Y option under $50,000. At the same time Tesla dropped these prices, they did make 3 small changes to the pricing structure when configuring a vehicle. The destination fee has gone up $190, now coming in at $1,390. The price of the 7-seater option in the Model Y has increased $1,000, now coming in as a $4,000 option, and they brought back the charge for changing from white to midnight silver metallic paint. For a while, either of those colors were included. Now it's an extra $1,000 for midnight silver metallic, and white is the only included color in the base price. We'll see how all of this pans out, but Tesla is going to have a lot of recent frustrated customers and also likely see an influx of new orders for their cars at these new lower prices. Next up today, Tesla has once again begun reporting their Autopilot safety data. For a while, they weren't posting updated Autopilot safety data as they used to do each quarter, but now they have filled it in and published the latest data through Q3 of 2022. They chart out the improvements, which are very notable. As always with Tesla Autopilot data, it's important to remember that they are comparing Autopilot, which is mostly used on freeways and clearly marked roads, to general driving, but it's still impressive to see. The lines are miles driven per one accident, with a dark blue line being Tesla vehicle using Autopilot technology, the light blue line being Tesla vehicle not using Autopilot technology, and the gray line being the US average. It looks like the best quarter they had ever was Q1 of 2022, and Q3 of 2022 was the next safest. Quote, in the third quarter, we recorded 1 crash for every 6.26 million miles driven, in which drivers were using Autopilot technology. For drivers who were not using Autopilot technology, we recorded 1 crash for every 1.71 million miles driven. By comparison, the most recent data available from NHTSA and FHWA from 2021 shows that in the United States, there was an automobile crash approximately every 652,000 miles. Autopilot continues to prove its safety, and this is particularly showing the effectiveness of Tesla Vision without radar. Long term, Tesla's goal is for FSD in general to be better than human drivers, but it's a long road to get there. In the meantime, it's great to see Tesla reporting this data again, so we can see that Autopilot has continued improving as their fleet is growing. Next up today, Tesla is expanding in a few different ways in Texas. This week, Tesla filed for a $717 million expansion of Giga Texas with the Texas Department of Licensing and Regulation. It includes an additional 1.4 million square feet of space comprising 4 different projects. The largest is a 693,000 square foot facility called Cell 1, with construction set to complete on February 12, 2024. Drive Unit is the second largest, and that will be 423,000 square feet, completing construction on January 15, 2024. The third project is Cathode at 321,000 square feet, and the fourth is Cell Test Lab, only about 2,560 square feet. This is a huge expansion project and pretty clearly relates to a few main pieces of manufacturing Tesla will be doing and expanding at Giga Texas. Likely these will relate to the Cybertruck, but they could also be for any future Tesla products built at Giga Texas. At the same time, Tesla has secured a new 1 million square foot building near Brookshire, Texas. It's unknown what this space will be used for, but the rumor is that it will be for battery storage. Quote, little is known about Tesla's plans, but the Fortune 500 company signed a lease late last year for about 1.03 million square feet at 111 Empire West, part of the 300-acre Empire West Business Park in Brookshire. Tesla is continuing to expand rapidly in many ways, and a big piece of this is with their overall footprint in the state of Texas. Another place they're expanding is with the refining of lithium itself for their batteries. We've known Tesla was in the process of entering this space for some time, with Tesla planning to invest $365 million into a lithium plant that will employ 165 people. Now Tesla is moving forward with hiring. A new job listing for Project Scheduler has popped up, and the listing says, quote, as a project scheduler, you will be playing a critical role in the construction of Tesla's first lithium refinery plant near Corpus Christi, Texas. This role will support all project phases from engineering through commissioning of construction by providing project management with critical decision-making information that ensures projects are delivered on time. The timeline here isn't clear, but Tesla is starting the process. Long-term, this could be another piece that leads to significant cost advantages for Tesla. Last up today, some updates about other automakers. Lucid Motors finished 2022 strong, surpassing their guidance of 7,000 units within 2022. They produced 7,180 Lucid Airs in 2022 and delivered 4,369 of them. That's a 50% production growth, and they achieved it with strong Q4 2024 growth, where they produced 3,493 EVs. However, it's important to note that these were their revised targets, changed from their originally announced goal of 20,000. We'll see how 2023 pans out, but hopefully they can get on track for more production and deliveries within the year. Over at Jaguar, they just unveiled their new 2024 I-Pace. It has a bit of a facelift and a number of new features, but one thing to note is that the range from the 90 kilowatt-hour battery is 292 miles WLTP. Converted to EPA, that's a range of about 263 miles. Jaguar says, quote, I-Pace has always offered a comprehensive package of performance, agility, technology, and everyday usability that customers expect from a Jaguar, together with the smooth, quiet, and effortless driving experience that electrification offers. We've delivered exactly that, and now it's the latest model to benefit from our approach of offering more curated, richer specifications. Over at Mercedes, they announced that they plan to drop the EQ branding from their EVs by 2024. They are doing this to avoid confusion since they soon will have a large variety of electric offerings. These will be the EQA, EQB, EQC, EQE, EQE SUV, EQS, EQS SUV, EQV, and maybe the EQG and EQT. That's a lot of similar vehicle names, and customers often think these are designated this way due to size instead of the fact that they are electric. We'll see what they come up with for their branding, but I think it's a smart move as they plan to go all electric after 2025. That's all the latest Tesla news for today, so in the meantime, if you want to see the latest announced EVs coming soon, you can check out that video linked up here or in the description below. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.